from that perspective, how are we going to measure the effectiveness of these campaigns that we're doing and all this specialized marketing?
So when I arrived here last year, we had a GA4 set up to capture all the website activity for a domain, for example, abcstorage.com. But what if they had 20 facilities? You have to either be really good at creating custom reports in GA4 and spending hours every week doing so, or the solution that was in place when I arrived was to have a GA4 master for the domain, abcstorage.com, and a separate GA4 property for each location, for each facility. But that meant that if you wanted to look at each facility, you had to jump from one GA4 property to the next, and if you wanted to compare them, you either had to be really good at combining reports in GA4 and spending hours every month doing so, or you had to export them into Excel and do Excel gymnastics just to get your data. So I went on a mission to try to find a better way for this industry. If you had more than one facility, how are you going to get easy access to really good business insights from GA4? And the solution, we are going only with a GA4 master. We don't need a separate GA4 property for each facility. However, on the GA4 master is a lookup table. We worked with the development team, so they send information via JavaScript with every event that takes place, instead of just this event occurred, like this reservation or rental or purchase. We're also sending the facility name, facility ID, owner name. And then in the old days, when we had Google Tag Manager, if anyone has been in GA4 and known that, well, I've got to create these 5 tags for my GA4 master, now I've got to create those same 5 tags for every facility. Well, we've got customers here with 50, 60, 65 locations. How many tags is it? How do they even get through their Tag Manager account? This is one customer. So what we do now, because of these lookup tables, we just have those 5 tags, and they know to look for owner ID and facility ID to record which facility that event occurred on. So we only need the basic set of conversion tags, and it references the lookup table, not just the whole rambling property. So let me demonstrate what that means visually. And we've created a custom dashboard. Jesse was kind enough to let me use his dashboard as an example. So the dashboard defaults to his owner ID. He only sees his facilities. He can see an overview of all his facilities, his website performance, which, by the way, is doing quite well for the last 30 days. Woo! Woo! Yeah. Or he can say, you know what, I really just want to see this one, without having to leave and go somewhere else, or replicate your standard reports on every facility GA4 property. You're right here, and you can just toggle between locations. I only want to see these 3 Oklahoma City properties, or whatever. So let's go back to all of them.
You're not hiring professional services to manage a GA4 account that can be super complicated and still yet not get you to this level of functionality.
Yeah, and maybe Jesse says, you know what, I just want to see my Oklahoma properties. He just wants to sell them all. Anyone wants a buyer. But look, Jesse, look how good they're doing. So, okay, then we can go back.
That means he did 1.3 more rentals than last year over there.
And then he can see where his traffic is coming from. And again, toggled by facility. So if one facility is not doing as well as the others, well, let's see what's going on. Are people coming from paid search, from direct, from organic? You can measure conversion performance. And I don't know how many of you are aware, we did start pushing e-commerce data to the purchase event on GA4 So if you don't have it set up, reach out to us and we'll set to the marketing team specifically. We'll set it up for you. But now we can record the revenue associated with each rental,
Right.
and you can see how much was rental and how much was protection in that given time period, or whatever else it is that you're selling. So we're recording the event and just the amount of the online sale. So if the same customer continued to rent the next month, it won't appear here. Gandhar will be talking about that. In the future, what we are currently working on is pulling this GA4 data into Mariposa and Hummingbird, so that you won't have to leave to go visit to see your site visits, users, sessions, channel performance. That's going to be pulled into Mariposa, and now we can combine that with your real rental data, include it with what came in through walk-in, through a sign call, et cetera, and what's your MRR and ARR, et cetera, and then we can forecast. So we can give really good business insights by combining the GA4 online activity with the actual financial performance that's being recorded in Mariposa Hummingbird.
Yeah, that's a challenge. GA4 can only see the e-com on the sale. So if you're doing any sort of promo rate or heavy promoting, right, it may record it as it was $1 transaction, right? And that doesn't look so exciting when you spent $300 to get it. But as we're bringing this data together, as you'll start to see, you'll really be able to get truthful insights into not only your attribution, but your ROIs. And it's a very difficult thing, right? The Fortune 500 struggle with that. And we've taken it a long way. You're gonna see things today that are available right now that are a long ways down the path, especially in this industry. Like, we're sort of tip of the spear right now on some of the stuff you're going to see.
And
Where do people go to pull this down?
We just
Get access to their
we are in the final stages of completing the dashboards. We're rolling them out to marketing customers and Storelocal brand customers by request. So we'll have a waiting list and just start converting people. Some customers have opted to stay on the old way and just wait for Mariposa and Hummingbird. But for anyone who wants it, they can reach out to me and we'll start working on a schedule. And with reference to the e-commerce data, although it's not your complete sales and ARR and MRR, et cetera, it is a good indication at a glance if a website is converting or not, if a website is performing well or not. So, we're taking steps up on the ladder. So the first step is to get really good reporting in GA4 that's customized to our industry. We have customers with 20 locations, 29 locations, 50 locations. Are they going to jump from one property to another or create manual reports every month? No. So here's step 1. Step 2 is combine it with data in Mariposa. And step 3, Gandhar will be showing you what's in the works in the future. So these are all steps along a much greater path of really good, accurate business insights. We're also standardizing the way leads are recorded and allocated in Mariposa and Hummingbird to be in line with industry standards and in line with each other. So if you move from GA4, Mariposa, Hummingbird, you're going to see the same sort of categorization, such as lead, source, medium, channel, platform, et cetera.
Yeah, and know that those are industry terms that we'll be using that align with GA4 and align with Google. So you may be used in the past to calling it something else. Adapt. Right, because otherwise you're gonna have a real mess if in every system and every platform we're trying to refer to this terminology differently. So we're allowing Google to be City Hall here, and their products, and that's the terminology that you'll see. This is also this is kind of getting pretty deep into the pool stuff from an analytics perspective, because ultimately to get to that single analytics tool that brings all this together, there's no way to just feed all this data into like one spot. Like we can't just say, hey, we're going to take a BI tool and we're going to grab all this stuff and send all these APIs there. You really can't do that today. So this information, when Nikki says it's coming into Hummingbird, what it's really getting to is a secondary product in Hummingbird called Tenant Warehouse that we'll be talking about here in a little bit. And once it's into Tenant Warehouse and it is in a proper form there, we can then feed it out through APIs to tools like Power BI or Tableau or ClickSense or Sisense or all sorts of systems, and we played with many of them already. We're going to be demoing one today that we think is a really great tool that will have a lot of power for us going forward.
And in order to standardize lead attribution, we will be using UTM parameters, which is standard. Many of you work with us for marketing, but if you're working with an outside agency, just have them connect with us, and we'll give them a list of UTM parameters to make sure that if a lead came from organic search or Google Ads, et cetera, that it's going to show up in your dashboard, in your Mariposa Hummingbird dashboard correctly. So we're happy to assist with that.
Super critical, because once you start seeing your lifetime values over those customers, right, you really build your true ROIs, and it'll take you a little while to have that data, but you want to own the source of truth and the data within your organization. Get it all into that place. You own it. It's yours. Right? Then figure out how you want to view it, distribute it, do what you want. But we're creating the tools that now make that doable. Like when you see what we're able to do with like a BI tool, and how the cost that it can be delivered to, it doesn't seem possible. But we've also been spending God knows what for how long building the foundational elements to get there. So what may seem like very little money took a lot of work to get there. And this is one. There's 3 data projects going on in our tech stack all at the same time. One is that's pairing all the data and bringing everything all together so we have a reporting tool. And what do we technically call that, Karan? Unified Reporting Services is a methodology that we're in process of moving to, which creates a lot more economies of scale for handling data. The second one is what you're seeing here is bringing in a lot of the marketing attribution information that is only really available through GA4. And the third one is the Tenant Warehouse and its plumbing with tools like Power BI or whatever that it is that it's tied to. So those 3 things are all happening at the same time. And they used to be like 360, right? Or some of them didn't exist. Now then we got them all on the field, and they were all running different directions, and we've been herding them like this, and now they're just about to all run into each other. So this year they all collide, and when they do that, we
prefer the term blend seamlessly to collide.
Blend seamlessly with a sledgehammer. Yeah. So these things are a lot of work, and what's great in this event is you're going to actually see these things now. They're no longer conceptual like they were years ago. We all talked about data forever. You're going to you now have it.